Well, it's being viewed as a major step, illustrating the ongoing warming of relations between the world's top nuclear powers since Donald Trump returned to the White House. The US and Russia have agreed to resume high-level military communications during peace talks in Abu Dhabi. Washington had cut almost all contact with Moscow under the Biden administration as tensions rose ahead of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Well, for more, let's cross live now to Fraser Jackson, our correspondent in Washington. He's standing by for us now. Fraser, firstly, just talk us through how significant this development actually is.
Well, for the first time in nearly 5 years, the US and Russia have agreed to restore high-level mill-to-mill talks between the two countries, communication that was axed in the lead-up to the war in Ukraine. US European Command said maintaining dialogue between militaries is an important factor in global stability and peace, which can only be achieved through strength and provides a means for increased transparency and de-escalation. The Eurocom then adding this channel will provide a consistent military-to-military contact as the parties continue to work towards a lasting peace, adding that the aim is to avoid miscalculation and to provide a means of avoiding unintended escalation by either side. Now, communication between the US and Russia basically came in the aftermath of the Cuban Missile Crisis, with the cliche of the red phone sat on the president's desk. That is now actually, though, a secure fiber optic email system rather than a telephone system that was set up back in 2008. There has been some contact between the parties, though, since the war in Ukraine broke out. But the re-establishment of talks agreed to in Abu Dhabi means that the chairman of the US Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Russian chief of the general staff will resume strategic dialogues. There were a couple of moments during the war in Ukraine which have happened where a lack of communication has caused issues, especially in March 2023. If you remember the American Reaper drone that was dumped in the Black Sea after Russian fighters dropped fuel on it and clipped its propeller, something Moscow denies. But various incidents like that have led to a spike in tensions, and it's hoped that these re-establishment of talks will stop those moments from happening in the future.
And Fraser, what impact might this have on the war in Ukraine then?
Well, for Ukraine, this channel is a bit of a double-edged sword, really. It provides a path to end the fighting while simultaneously potentially threatening its long-term security aims as well. By opening this direct line between the Pentagon and the Russian Ministry of Defense, there is some fear that it may lead to the war becoming a sort of frozen conflict. However, resuming these military talks could help create the kind of technical frameworks if this political ceasefire deal is reached and comes out of these talks in Abu Dhabi. That could include things on how to monitor ceasefires that are agreed to, how to manage troop withdrawals, or oversee an eventual demilitarized zone if that is indeed agreed upon. But it does not really guarantee progress towards ending the war in itself. There are still, of course, some issues that remain in these ceasefire deals. Of course, the issue of territory being the biggest one. So for now, the real world impact on the ground isn't likely to change, but in the future, it could be a bit of a worry for the Ukrainians.
Fraser, for now, thank you.